Welcome to the Interactive Body Balance Radio Show for health and fitness tips.
Welcome back to Interactive Body Balance Radio. I'm your host, Mike Dasick, and thank you guys for tuning in from all over this world. We have like health, fitness, nutrition, functional medicine, personal development, and just basically getting the best version of yourself. Been a little while since we did the last show, probably about a month or so. Lots of things going on in our lives, as we always say, right? The family's always busy with horses and hockey. Did a little travel to the U.S. last weekend. Clearly, we do a lot of business work, helping clients, helping technology companies, just everything we can to add value to the world and just keep improving. Today's show will be a little different. It's because I get questions on all the time. I mentor a lot of people, coach a lot of people, work with a lot of people, and they're always wondering, right? How do you do a lot of the things that we do? How do you do multiple things? How do you run multiple businesses? How do you work with so many unique and diverse groups of people and get things done basically in a 24-hour day? And what I would say is that when I'm looking at something like this is anyone can do anything they want to do. They can make a change. They can go to the gym for a week. They can go save money for a week. But the real gold or the real value is creating lasting change. So doing something that you want to do for an extended period of time to get the results you want. So if you want to look good, you want your body to look good, and you want to be healthy internally and externally, you just can't do it for a week or a month. You've got to do it consistently over an extended period of time. If you want money in your bank longer than a week or a paycheck or a month, what are you going to do to keep wealth and keep money for a long period of time? How do you keep it? How do you stay the course? That's where most people fail. Got lack of discipline, lack of consistency, whatever it may be. But I'm going to give you some tips today on how you can improve that. Tips that you can keep what you've so rightfully earned for the long haul, for months, years, decades, right? Be the beacon, be the light for a long period of time. Don't be a flash in the pan. Don't do a fad diet and 2 months later you're back or worse than you were before. Don't take those pills, whatever they may be, right? That's just going to do something for the short term but not help you long term as well. Okay, there's always different things that you can do. We're here to coach you on how can you create lasting change. I would say this, right? People can create new habits. They can create new health goals. They can even switch or change their career, right? Relationships. But lasting change isn't necessarily about the willpower, but understanding how humans actually change and how they work. We'll get a little science-based for you. We'll get a little in-depth. The brain, wired for efficiency and familiarity. If you look at change, that means more energy and uncertainty. That's why we do rely on motivation, which is temporary and it's emotion-based, right? Lasting change requires those systems, the identity, the environment, not just emotion, not just temporary desire. I've always said this to my family. What are your habits? What are your standards, right? What do you identify with as who you are? That is what you have to do. You have to build systems, habits, identify with who you want to become. If you want to become a millionaire, identify with that. If you want to become fit and lean, identify with that. You have to get this as your blueprint. Does that make sense? Number one, so we'll talk about the principles we have here, some of the principles. The identity-based change. I'm an outcome-based guy. I'm a process-driven guy. I am a habit-based guy. But what you have to do is what I said a little earlier about identity. Be someone who has an identity to them and it lasts, right? When the identity shifts, behavior follows. There's no doubt about that. For example, there's different things here. I'm trying to write more. Shift that to I'm a writer who writes daily. Who do you need to become for this change to stick, right? Identity-based. I've said this so many times before when I talk to clients about depression, right? And people who've had depression, people that are getting over it. Think about this, and I've said it in person to people. A lot of people who have depression, right? There's many forms of it, and I'm not saying you should have it or you shouldn't. So don't start with, oh my God, you don't know my story. No, I'm just giving you an example of what I see. If you have depression, and then people actually form an identity with it. Lots of people do this. They don't subconsciously, they don't even know it. So you have depression, you form an identity. That becomes who you are a lot because you're depressed. And for whatever reasons, good or bad, not my business. Just figure it out. But sometimes when you fix that depression, or you help that depression, or you cure that depression, or whatever you want to say, you get people over their depression, they lose a bit of their identity because that's who they've been associated with. It's kind of crazy because people like that sometimes have people always ask them, how are you doing? How are you feeling? It's part of their identity. But if you've beaten that, or you've gotten over that, and no one's asking you anymore, you've lost a part of your identity. This is very deep. I get that. My point is identity is very important, both good and bad. Be aware of what you identify with and who you associate with, but also who you associate yourself with. How do you see yourself? Number 2, small increments. Okay, nervous system resists those big leaps, but I know it accepts those tiny, small steps. Habits, small habits over time, right? 2 minutes of stretching a day versus a hour workout. 5 minutes of meditation and prayer as opposed to doing something for 2 hours, right? Do a paragraph instead of a chapter. Small wins builds a self-trust, confidence, and creates long-term change. When I wrote 2 books, I have 2 books out there. I would do the exact same thing. I chunked it down into blocks. I, broke my books down into sections. You can call them chapters, but sections. And then each time I'd fill out a section. It might be a page or 2 a day or a section a day, but I would break it down. Before you know it, you have a 150-page book, right? That's what happens. You have to break things down into small chunks, small increments. That's how it gets done. A third tip, design your environment. Your environment beats willpower every time. Who you surround yourself with, what you set up. For example, put those running shoes by the door so you use them. Pre-plan and pre-make your meals, right? If you're working, put your phone into another room so you don't keep looking at it. As I'm doing this podcast, my phone is to the side and, relatively shut off. On silent, right? Hopefully it stays that way. But I don't look at it as I'm doing the podcast, right? When I was writing books, I didn't look at other stuff. Don't get distracted. Prep that healthy food, as I mentioned. Do it all the time. Tonight, making chicken. You can have chicken for tomorrow as well, too. Pre-plan. It's very important. Number 4, emotional regulation. Most change collapses not because of that behavior, but because of the emotional load, stress, fatigue, overwhelm. You know how many times people go back, or they backtrack, or they fall off, or they eat the foods they shouldn't eat because of stress, fear, emotion, whatever it may be. Reframe those setbacks, right, as data points and as learning and not failure. Regulate your emotion, folks. It's really important. Community. Last principle here, last tip, community accountability. It's so funny. I was down in the US, as I said, last week, and so many, I loved it down there for various reasons from the people side of it, meaning that we were around some people. We went down with our family, but there was a community surrounding certain areas of basketball games or church or faith-based stuff. Humans change better together. Support systems are amazing. Accountability, a coach, a friend. We become like the people we spend time with. There's no doubt. I don't even want to say that quote. I've said it for 20 years, right? You are who you spend the most time with. You're the 5 closest people that you spend the time with, you become them. It's true. But that goes too if you have groups of 100. When I work in the office, I love being in the office around great people. Smart, intelligent, like-minded people. I absolutely enjoy it because it's a community and they're there to form a bond together. I hope that makes sense. All right, team, here's some tips to create lasting change. It's really important, especially a guy in my line of work where I see people do very well. Look, we've had clients and patients and businesses for dozens of years, 30 years, 25 years. Yeah, I'm getting older. My point is that they've done very well and they've implemented it or employed a lot of these tips. But the ones that are like a yo-yo don't. They're the all or nothing, black or white. I'm in and then I'm not. Guys, use these tips to create lasting change financially, in relationships, with your health, and in business. You are and you do who you associate with and how in the standards and habits you create that you live day in and day out. I thought it was imperative, very important to do this podcast because you've heard my podcast before on technology and on, again, very serious medical conditions that that we've helped people with, even in not basic, but weight loss or weight gain or muscle or creatine or PCOS or hormones. We love that stuff. We're very technical, science-based from technology and health. We love it. But I'll tell you, the people who get the results do what I just said for those 5 tips above. I hope it resonates with you. I hope you can relate to it, because this is what we see. We're always traveling. We're always out with clients and people. We love it. There we go. The website, MikeDasiak.com, interactivebodybalance.com. I've sent my email a million times. You can see it online. Our books are free on the website. You can find us on any social media platform. Well, not any. Sorry, we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course Spotify, iTunes, whatever the podcast platforms are. We're here to serve. We're here to help people live their best life. We've been doing this for a long time, and this is what we do. Live with passion and live with purpose. I always say that, but the 4 tips I tell my kids every single day. Number 1, you got to work hard. No substitute for hard work. Please remember that, folks. There's no substitute for hard work, right? You got to add value to the world. You each have a skill set listening to this podcast. We've had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of downloads. You all have a skill set. Share it with the world. Help other people. Go to Wade Pull Chairs, open doors, give it your time, volunteer, make life better for other people. And number 4, smile and have some fun. Lots of fun. I was at my mom's house last night, just saying, look, we got to have people in general, just a lot of fun, more fun, more fun, more fun. Yes, many know I lost my dad last year, so it was November, so I guess 4 months ago now. And life's it goes fast. My point is that you need to have more fun. Okay. Team, always here to serve. Like I said before, always here to help. Any questions, feel free to reach out. Have yourselves a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye for now.